always by yourself. Don't let anybody close.
There are two kinds of people here. The ones who take off and never look back.
Let's go! Go! Go!
And the ones that stick forever.
There he is. You know what people hate most in a shit town like this? Someone who turns out better than that.
You know he's gonna let you down. He's a lowlife.
Hate is noise. Disrespect. That's a decision.
Tree, what happened?
I don't think I have a real chance with this type of guys.
What are you talking about? What, you giving up already, huh?
This chance you got shouldn't just happen to someone like you.
Someone like me? I'm gonna go someplace in my life. Please come with me.
It's not about skill. It's about trust.
Thank you so much, Sung. I'm very excited to see this film. To kick off the first question, and I will hand it to any of you. In past conversations that we've had, you've spoken about the importance of community, the people in this film that you use. You used actual members of the automotive community, you used actual drivers, the cars, you used actual drift builds. How are you honoring your community through this film?
How am I honoring community with this film? Well, indirectly or directly, every single person in the car community is responsible for this film. And it is so important for me to make this a love letter for all of us that have this deep passion for these things. And first step is surrounding myself with the right people, surrounding the movie with the right people. And so I went out and sought out and recruited, pleaded and begged like the best of the best in our community. You know, we have Brian Scotto, co-founder of Hoonigan, and director of a lot of the Gymkhana videos for Ken Block. When I watch his action sequences, to me, that is how you capture, car stunts. And he coined this wonderful phrase called the honest angle in his work. That today the audience knows if it's CG or if it's fake or some camera trick. And so he did all the second unit action directing in this film, and you can see this is like authentic car driving stunts. And then also recruiting people within our community like Rutledge Wood and James Pumphrey. People that actually came to town to be actors. They have this Hollywood dream to be performers, and somehow, they started to become content makers or, voices within the car community. And I felt like, just personally, they have an ethos that fit the character, that made it honest, angle, and authentic. And anyone in the car committee would know, you know, this is our family, this is our tribe. And then just surrounding the movie with everybody that is real within the community. All the drivers are either current or former pro drift drivers, or they are underground drifters with like Animal Style or Final Bout, and all the builders. You know, like these are guys that are wrenching every night, that are so passionate about these cars. And so it was just really putting an honest angle and an authentic touch to every department, every part of it. And this is where the car gods came in. And just bless this movie, because guys, this is not a studio film. This is not Fast and Furious. We don't have that budget. So, you know, to be able to build the cars, to be able to afford the locations, to be able to have all these amazing drivers and stunts. I mean, this was all pretty much donated within the car community. Every penny of the financing of this movie came from the car community. There were just friends that would like come through the garage, and they would see that, you know, I had this dream to bring this movie to life, and I would share the story, and I would get $1 here, a couple of dollars here, you know, a whole bunch of money here, and then finally we pieced the budget together, and we were able to make this movie. So I use this phrase, honest angle, as a through line, or the ethos of the movie.
Thank you, that's very lovely. We will open it to questions, but there's only one microphone. So if you put up a hand, I will come to you and then run this back. How long is this wire? Oh, it's pretty long.
Hey, well, first of all, thank you for being a huge part of my childhood. I mean, really, I'm not gonna get emotional, so don't worry about it. My question is, you talked about this being a movie that's not a studio movie, but just from the teaser, it really looks like you're taking the race stunts to a whole new level. And is that something that you had with you back then when you were doing Fast and Furious? Like observations on the set, thinking about, well, maybe maybe I would do this scene a little bit differently. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Sorry, I was just nervous.
Thank you.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Yeah, so it was such a blessing being a part of the Fast and Furious franchise, because, you know, that was my film school. You know, I got to watch and observe, get to watch what to do, maybe what not to do, right? And also being able to, you know, speak to the people in our community what they felt like was something that they enjoyed, or what they didn't want, right? And I mean, there's like a unanimous consensus that they don't want us to be going to space anymore in the field, right? So you take those notes, and that's the great thing about, you know, Fast and Universal and Vin, is that they know that the franchise is built by the audience, built by the fans. So you have to listen to them, and so, you know, I learned from that, and I learned even through, you know, content makers study, like, you know, Brian Scotto, is like, what is, like, who has the fingers on their pulse, right? Like, how are people consuming car action? And that's where I go back to Hoonigan. It's like, when you watch a Hoonigan video, it's so visceral, it's so raw, it is so real, it is so honest, right? So that's something that I kept telling myself. I was like, if I'm gonna ever be able to direct my own movie and have, like, you know, car stunts, that's the way I want to do it. So, and this is where Brian Scotto came in, and, you know, he was able to put his, you know, his fingerprints, his touch, you know, into it, and you can see that's why it feels like a bigger budget movie than it really is. But it's also a testament to today, is that, you know, the audience wants sincerity. They want real, not just within the emotions of the characters, but within the stunts themselves, within the representation of our culture.
We have another question. We'll take one over here. Please, in blue.
Hello, how are you? I saw you at the Daikoku meetup yesterday in Chinatown, and their ethos is so much about community. You speak to community being the center of this movie. What do you recommend to people also trying to find friends who love cars, or just a space for cars, especially if they're new to the passion?
Well, it's interesting you bring up the Daikoku guys and that meetup. I mean, they are like a great example of what I find beautiful about our car community. You know, R2X and Daikoku and groups like that. You know, these are grassroots community organizations and they welcome all. And that's what I think is so important and why I'm so honored and proud to be, you know, representing this community because, and I say this over and over everywhere I go. It's like, you know, today when you open your phones and you watch the news or read something, we're being programmed to hate each other, to find why we're different and why we don't belong here and who doesn't want us here. But when you walk into these doors, you look around us, you know, there's people from all over the world, all walks of life, whatever your ideology, whatever your religion is, it doesn't matter. Like, we share something. We share the love affair for these things. And I think that's the way, it's so important today, you know? And this is why am so proud to make a film that's a love letter to our community. And if you were to answer your question, is like, what's my advice for anyone that wants to be a part of this community? Is you just show up. You don't have to have a car. You know, like I started somewhere. You know, it's like when I first started, I had like imposter syndrome, going, do I even know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, the people think because I'm Han, I know everything, but I know nothing. You know, and I still know nothing. But what the thing is, like, it doesn't matter really if you have a car, if you're a mechanic, if you're a race car driver. The beauty of this community is that, you know, this is, many times, it does feel like a family barbecue. So just have the courage and show up. And don't fake the funk. Just, you know what you know and don't know what you don't know, right? So.
In gray, please.
Hi. First, I do want to thank you both, you know, personally and professionally for following through with your passion project for this. Myself and my friends were actually in the stands in Englishtown, New Jersey while we were filming this movie, so I can speak to the authenticity of it while we were watching, you know, the actual drift scenes and that being part of the footage. It was fantastic. You know, movies like this, and you know from the original Fast and Furious and Tokyo Drift, of course, that these kind of movies have the ability to really move the needle in the car community, have a lot of influence. So, you know, a movie like Drifter, has, I think, that same ability. So what do you think, with your movie and in the future, what do you see for the future of the car community going forward? You know, and at times it can go up and down a bit, but, you know, how do you feel, what do you feel is in the future of the car community and how they're going to respond?
Traveling around now, going around from country to country and city to city, it has opened my eyes to something, to where the car community is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Is that I think it's just going to keep growing. The reason is because social media is very singular, solo, activity. But as human beings, we need a reason to get together. We need to commune together. We need to be part of something, right? And that's not going to go away, right? So, these car meets like Daikoku, if you come to this, you come to these things. I mean, this Friday, you guys are all welcome. I think there are like 300 cars showing up, at the Lower East Side. They're just showing up, and you're like, why? Because the weather's good, right? And because we need that. We need each other. We need to just stand. You can go to a car meet, just stand there like, it's nice wheels, right? And so it's not necessarily even the car, it's just an excuse to get together with a brother or a sister, or, a mentor. It's a reason to just gather. So I feel like it's going to keep growing and growing and growing.
One other thing I would say about Daikoku is it is very hard to keep a car in New York City, so you have to really, really want it, and that's what makes this particular one very nice to be a part of. I think we have time for one more question, but please, in the white.
Hi, I was glad to be in New Jersey also for filming. That was amazing actually. And seeing all this professional drifters, it's different level as especially. But I just want to know, like, I'm also in car community. First of all, I hope you're gonna be able to do in April 12th. We have event in New Jersey. It's a big one. I hope you're gonna be able to make it. And also I wanted to ask, like, what was the biggest challenges for you when you like was building, or even like when you were starting, like to build your car? No, the car. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Question is, what is the biggest challenge building Lola, right, for the movie, right? Biggest challenge is that these A86s are not cheap anymore. You know, at one time these were $200, $500 cars. If you talk to any like early Hachiroku owner, they're like, I got it for free, or my cousin gave it to me for like $500. Now, this little plastic part is like $300 to $600 if you can find it, right? So that was the biggest challenge. But again, this is the power of the car community. So when they found out that I was making a movie and Lola, the actual star of the movie, a kid, and her name is Lola, and she's actually #1 on the call sheet. She is truly the star of the movie, right? And I made sure that if we're gonna make a movie about drifting, it had to be the Hachiroku, and she is the grandmother of drift cars, or even to arguably to JDM car culture, right? And so, you know, I found Hachiroku on Facebook Marketplace, and we did a full rebuild to like factory spec, so I could learn like what did the car drive like and smell like and feel like when it came out of factory. Why did people fall in love with these cars? I think it was important for me to like have a personal connection and relationship with Hachiroku. And then once I did that, it was now to like really build a little. And it is an interesting story about this particular car. This is owned by Peter Diaz. He's a local car enthusiast. We went to New Jersey, Englishtown, to Raceway Park to do some scouting, because they had Adam LZ has his world tour, his drift tour, and that's one of the stops. So that racetrack is owned by a family, the Knapp family, just amazing human beings. They welcomed us. I was looking for ideas, inspiration, and I was looking for Lola. I was looking for this imaginary car. It's like, if it's a Hachiroku, how does it, and how would she look like? Would it be a she? Would it be a he? And in my head, I saw like a gray primered like beater, just like a junker, and it just didn't really work. The camera didn't love that car, didn't love that color. And then I was walking around Englishtown, and then I see Lola, this car, Peter's car, and this is a movie star. She was like, I am the star of your movie. So if you look at this, so this car is the inspiration to the eventual movie car, right? So back there is the final car in the movie with the Rocket Bunny kid and the LS3 in there, but she is the inspiration. So the challenge was, finding these cars, because now these are very, very expensive cars, but car community came in, a couple of friends donated a couple of Hachirokus. Taka-san, who is a professional drifter that teaches drifting at Willow Springs, he sold me the 2 cars that he actually taught, like I think 130 people how to drift in. So there's all this wonderful spirit in the car. One has a blacktop 20 valve and one's a turbo. And it's built for high desert, like high heat temperatures. So it was already like broken in. And the cars came with the soul. So those 2 we have as like stunt cars. And then that particular car there, with the LS3, Dai, professional drift legend, he's my stunt driver. He does all the stunts in the movie for me. He knew that I could not afford, we didn't have a budget to build a car like that. So he built this for me. He spent his own money, he donated one of his own cars, and then he built this car because he said, if we're gonna compete at a professional level, for the finale where you guys were at Englishtown, you need a high horsepower car, and these twin cams are not gonna work, right? These 4AGs are not gonna work. So he put this LS3 and built this car, And I think that he probably put like $150,000 into the car. And this is where, again, without the car community, there would be no Drifter. So yeah, challenging using this car now, right? So yeah.
Thank you. We are just about out of time, so one last question for you before we move on. Where and when can everyone expect to watch Drifter?
It's a great question. The challenges of an indie film is that we just don't have money to even finish the film. So we're asking everybody for favors and stuff, and so we're right at the end. We have like 5% of the movie left in post-production, so there's just some cleanup and some like effect shots that we're just finally finishing. So, and then from then on, I do not want this movie to just land on streaming, because this is a love letter to our community, and I want a reason to gather together, have car events, and then go and have a shared experience in the theater. So we do have to find a distributor or partner eventually that understands this language, understands our community, right? So we're taking our time with it. I think slowly, again, the car gods are like blessing us, bringing us the right people in front of us. So I hope like by the end of the year, we'll be in theaters, but we are taking our time with it, so being patient. But if you follow us on driftingmovie.com or on Instagram, you'll have up to date, up to date, like dates, right? So.
Thank you all so much. That is the official end of this press conference, and I'm sure the show organizers would like you to know that there is another event following this. However, if you'd like to stick around and ask some more questions, he's more than happy to do so. This time is yours, so please use it.
Before you run off,